Hi guys, it's Kat. So, as I believe I have already mentioned on this channel, I am a writer. I like writing. I am working on 2 different novels currently in different stages of being finished. Yay. Quick word of advice, just a quick tangent thing. Don't try and work on more than one novel at once. It doesn't work. One of them's been on hold for like a year now because I had to work on the other one because it was for school, so I had to get it done and yeah. So, going back to the original topic. I am a writer. And one of the greatest challenges for any writer, be it an experienced writer or a novice, or if you're like me and you kinda sorta know what you're doing, kinda. And this thing is making your characters believable. Because you can have the best plot in the world. You can have fantastic, just these places that you describe perfectly, and it evokes just the right picture that you want, and it's perfect. But if your characters are flat and boring, nobody's gonna like your book. So you have to make your characters believable. Make them real. And that's really hard to do. So sorry. So I thought that I would just share a couple tips with you guys as to how to write characters. Tip numero uno. You have got to give your characters flaws. They are human beings. And even if they're aliens or something, you're still going to try to get your characters to sympathize with them, to empathize. And in order to do that, they have got to be like human beings in the way that they function. And that means that they are going to have flaws. You've got to give them weaknesses. And even if they may never overcome these weaknesses, and that's okay. Or they may not see these weaknesses as things to be overcome, and that's okay too. Or they can overcome these things, and that's also okay. It doesn't matter what you do with it, they've got to be there. Because, second point, they've got to want things. Like, it doesn't even have to be a big want. It could be they want to find this thing they've lost, and it would take all 2 sentences to find. They could want a sandwich. They could want to finish the epic quest, but they've got to want something. Because them wanting is what drives the story forward, so you've got to have them want things. Third point, use backstory sparingly. Because it's perfectly alright to explain how a character knows something, but if you're in the middle of writing this super intense scene between the hero and the villain, and your hero, Steve, needs to, I don't know, solve a puzzle to get into the room that the villain Bob has just escaped into with Jennifer, Steve's love interest. Bob has taken Jennifer, Steve's love interest, and run through a doorway with her, and the door shuts, and there's a puzzle, and Steve has to solve the puzzle to get to Jennifer in time. That is not the time to go into how Steve was the puzzle-solving champion in 6th grade. Not the time. I mean, if somebody is to ask after the super dramatic scene has happened, like, whoa, how'd you know that? Then you can elaborate a little bit. But know when to use backstory. And it's not like if you're in the middle of doing a task, it's not like you're going to stop and go, now where did I learn to do this? Stare dramatically off into the middle distance as I recollect memories of whatever it is. Next point, this might sound a little bit weird, but hear me out. You've got to give them a personality. And I know that sounds really obvious and just, yeah, duh, isn't that what this is about, is making your characters have personality? Yes and no. You've got to make them unique. Like, if you have, well, use Steve the hero and Bob the villain from my previous example. You've got to make them different. Their speech has got to feel different. The way they conduct themselves has to be different in your writing, and that's hard to do, but you've got to work out a way to do it, or else they won't feel like real people. Because if everybody in your book or story or whatever feels the same way when you're reading, they aren't going to feel like real people, because nobody feels the same way when you're watching them. Everybody's different, and even if it's just two people standing next to each other, they're going to feel different because of how they hold themselves and such. And I would also just like to make the point, you don't have to describe someone in order for them to feel like a real person. You can do like 2-page, you can do heck, a whole story in first person, like saying, I did this, I did that. And you could never describe them once, and they could still feel like a real person. You don't have to describe somebody. Of course, it's very helpful to your readers so they know how to picture this new person that they're being introduced to, but you don't have to in order to make them not just like a flat character. You have got to know your characters. Like, I've seen something that says you should write out 20 things that the readers will never know about this character. Like, Steve enjoys knitting. Steve goes to this bakery on the corner every Monday morning because he likes their scones. Steve's favorite color is orange. Steve enjoys pottery. Steve's favorite book is Dragon Rider. The background picture on Steve's phone is blue. Like, little things. Just, you got to know your characters in depth. And the more you know them, the more their own little quirks will reveal themselves. I know people talk about the writers just typing and the characters do what they want. And for non-writers, that might sound kinda, yeah, I don't know about that. But it happens. It does actually happen. Like, occasionally I look back at what I've written and I'm like, wait, what? Wait, what? That's not where I wanted this chapter to go. What's going on? And the characters just took it in a direction I wasn't expecting. They do that. And if they do that, then that's a good thing, because then that means that they are turning into their own people, and they are driving the story, not you. So that's a good thing. Another thing that really helps to make a character more defined, every character has a moral code. Like, for them, this is right and this is wrong. Or for some characters, it's just like everything is right. I can do whatever I want. And for some characters, it's just, I can only do these specific things and everything else is a no. It doesn't matter. What matters is that once you establish their moral code, they stick to it like glue. Because if somebody came up to you and asked you to do something that's not in your moral code, what would you say? You'd say, heck no, right? And that's what your characters should do. They should stick to what they feel to be right. Even if it's total anarchy and I can do whatever I want, stick to it. Don't have that character turn around in the 2 chapters down the line and go, no, you know what, guys, this is wrong. That character should be saying, heck yeah, let's do this. Everything is right. So just have your characters stick to what they feel is right. So that's everything I can think of for right now. I hope this was at least a little bit helpful. So, yeah. Bye, guys. Happy writing.